Let's fire away.
Yeah, I think we should start. I'll catch Chris up.
Okay, great. We could do housekeeping then. Welcome everyone to today's Legal Services Trust Fund Commission Executive Committee meeting, and Danielle is going to do the housekeeping.
Great. We are using Zoom with the goal to foster a more inclusive environment and effective meeting. If you would like to comment during the meeting, please use the raised hand feature. To use the raised hand feature by phone, dial *9 on your phone's dial pad. You can do the same *9 to lower your hand. Please use this tool to virtually indicate that you would like to speak in order to help the chair facilitate the discussion. Going forward, all commission and committee meetings will be recorded and posted to the State Bar website. A friendly reminder that this is a video conference and to please be aware of your surroundings behind you. For those using Zoom on a computer, when on mute, holding down the space bar will temporarily unmute you. If you're using your phone to dial into this meeting, please be sure your computer's microphone is on mute to avoid audio feedback issues. And while joining audio via computer, it's highly recommended if an individual loses audio, they can call in separately using the Zoom conference number. Thank you.
Rich and Kim, would you like me to do roll call?
Sure.
Okay.
Please.
Reines?
Here.
Savage?
Here.
Schreiber? Venarelli?
Here.
So we have quorum, so I'll do liaisons and State Bar staff. Selena? Selena's here. I don't see Bonnie. Thank you. Danielle's here. Donna's here. Okay, so I'll turn it back over to you, Kim and Rich, for public comments.
Are there any members of the public who are on the phone or otherwise connected to us who would want to make themselves known?
There's nobody.
Any other?
Yeah, we don't see anybody, Rich and Kim, on the call.
Okay, and let's proceed unless anyone has a public comment they'd like to make. All right, one.
Okay, so we're on agenda item 3, the consent, Rich and Kim.
Are there any comments on the first meeting summary of February 15th, 2022? So we can approve these one at a time.
Sure.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Okay, I'll do roll call. Reines?
Yes.
Savage?
Yes.
Schreiber? Venarelli?
Yes.
Motion passes.
The second approval, this would be item 3B, the March 23rd meeting summary and action items from March 23rd, 2022. Any comments? If not, we'll move for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I'll do roll call. Reines?
Yes.
Savage?
Yes.
Schreiber? Venarelli?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay, we're on agenda item 4A, the update on the LRAP. Kim and Rich, would you like me to proceed?
Please.
Okay, great. I just have a really quick update, and I know you all heard at the last commission meeting an update from the working group that had been working about 1.5 years on looking at strategies for legal aid and recruitment. And one of the proposals on the table was whether we should stand up a statewide LRAP program. And as we all heard from the last meeting, that working group was comprised of members of Legal Services Trust Fund Commission, Council on Access and Fairness, as well as the Access Commission, did prop up a proposal for a statewide LRAP program. We just wanted to update you on, we'll go into a more detailed update at the commission meeting, that that proposal has been very positively received by the legislature, and we're really hopeful that it will be funded in this upcoming state budget. What's on the table right now is $10 million ongoing for a statewide LRAP program. So it's really, really kind of wonderful news. And hopefully by the time we convene again at the commission level, we'll have something more definite to report out. But I wanted you all to have that heads up.
Juan, do you know how many provisional lawyers were benefited by that program this year?
Oh, it's not for the provisional. This would be for legal aid attorneys
Right.
to have some of their student loans repaid. So a loan repayment assistance program for legal aid attorneys, and how the legislation right now, the proposed, it would be at IELTS funded organizations. So attorneys are practicing at our grantee organizations.
And do we have the data on that program, how it's been used so far?
It hasn't been used. There's a statutory LRAP program right now, but it's not in existence. This is for a completely new LRAP, first of its kind in the state of California, to fund legal aid attorneys. And Erica is planning on doing, she's our lead kind of staff on it, on the state bar side and the commission side. She did a short presentation at the last commission meeting on program eligibility. We've since then refined those eligibility requirements. And so she'll do another presentation at the commission level. But broadly speaking, it's $10,000 per year for an attorney working at one of our funded organizations.
Wait, so you're saying 10,000 per year repaid through this program? Repaid
through this program. And the ask from the legislature is $10 million per year. So we think the way that we've done the math, I mean, it's hard to say exactly, but we did do a survey last year to kind of get at an estimate of how much the loan balances are from our current existing legal aid attorneys. So we think with $10 million, we should be able to cover most, if not all, of the legal aid attorney loan balances on an income-based repayment plan.
Wow, terrific!
So it's a nice size, $10 million, but it's not so exorbitant. But the impact is real in that we can cover the loan balances for most, if not all, of our attorneys.
Is there hope that this could be refunded in the future if we can demonstrate how well it has benefited attorneys?
Well, we're hoping it could be ongoing, so $10 million every year. I think Selena had said, though, the latest that might not, the ongoing might not be realistic, but might be more time limited, but still somewhere in the realm of 10 years, I think is what Selena had mentioned. Is that correct? Right? From the last I heard the update.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard when you're doing state budget work. Legislators are more willing to give one-time multi-year funding than ongoing funding because it's so hesitant. So we were asking for both. We were asking for 10 million ongoing, or in the alternative, 100 million over 10 years, because we wanted to make sure it was multi-year funding. And as Dwan said, it was very well received. We've met with individual legislators, and also we testified at a budget hearing. And I was just saying the tricky thing is that the legislators who are lawyers are very smart about asking to say, this isn't a one-time need, this is ongoing funding. We need to make sure this is ongoing funding. But then that makes other people say, can we afford ongoing funding? But like Dwan said, this has been very, very well received. Legislative staff love the idea. And right now we're just proposing language, and Donna has mostly been taking the lead on that, working directly with legislative staff.
Terrific.
It's been a really great kind of collaborative effort. LAC has come in the last couple months also to help out with smoothing out some of the language and kind of helping us with the strategy. So
great. This is just terrific. Long overdue for those of us who feel close to it.
And one thing that's really amazing is in the current language that we've proposed, it also would cover registered legal services attorneys in California. So that's a really important program to our community of folks who are barred in another state, come to California. They have not yet taken the California bar exam, but they're registered to work in legal aid. And so that may be an amazing recruitment tool too, if it gets passed and it's robust enough that the organizations could say, if you move to California and you practice here, you could take part in a California program, even before you take the California bar exam. So we'll see the final language, but I think the language that's currently in draft is actually really positive.
So that's my update, and hopefully we'll have a more positive and fuller detailed update at the commission meeting. So the next agenda item is the update on the CalFHA foreclosure prevention grants, and Danielle is going to give a quick update.
Sure. So thank you very, very much to Kim and Christina, as well as Dwan and Chris McConkey. Those 4 folks and myself comprised our scoring team for the CalFHA proposals. We received 22 proposals requesting about $26 million in total. But we have $11.04 million to distribute. So over several sessions, we scored all 22 of those proposals. We met late last week to get the funding recommendations together for you all. And we are recommending that the committee approve to fund 11 of those 22 proposals. I believe it's the 9 highest scoring proposals, and then 2 that still scored pretty highly, but weren't necessarily quite at the top of the score list, but that was because they're in particularly underserved areas of the state that would not otherwise receive this CalFHA funding. So we'll provide, of course, more detail in a memo for the June 13th meeting. Dwan, was there anything else you wanted me to add or cover?
No, and we wanted to look back to Christina and Kim, because at the last scoring session last Friday, we had a set of proposed projects that we wanted to fund, but because of the limited funding, there wasn't geographic scope kind of in all the regions. Orange County, and the other one I'm forgetting right now.
Santa Barbara.
It's Santa Barbara. So we did go back to CalFHA to see if there was possibility to kind of increase the funding and fund those 2 areas. And they said that at this juncture, not, and that they're comfortable with because it's only $12 million, not having full coverage for the state, but that we can revisit it at some other point. And perhaps once we have a little bit more data, there might be more cause for it. But they were okay with not having full coverage given the limited funding available. So speaking of the June 13th meeting, so I'm sorry about the confusion for the 2 executive committee meeting. This one was always like part of our 4 quarterly meeting that precede the commission meeting, so that we can coordinate for the upcoming commission meeting. And then we have on the books a June 13th, also executive committee, and that's an ad hoc committee meeting that was added to approve the CalFHA grant. So I know there was a lot of confusion because the meetings are 2 weeks apart. But that is a separate meeting. And I know that there was, like Chris was not going to be able to attend. And we did reach out to Rich on last week to confirm his availability. And Christina, he said that he could do 9:30 on that Monday, if that works for you.
I just can't commit to it. I'm sorry,
So the other alternative, because we are really crunched, is we bring it to the commission. It does, again, like I mentioned, so we can try to plan for that meeting and then see Christina's availability, and then I can add an agenda item on the commission meeting in case the XCOM meeting doesn't work. It then does reduce the staff time though by 5 days to get grant agreements and process invoices and all that stuff. But I know there's a scheduling issue, so.
I mean, I'd like to try for the 13th unless you see any other window when we could do it.
We can't do it before because we're on a tight schedule for us to get the meeting materials and have the memo and all that stuff. Like Danielle's and I are going to need at least another week to do it, so we can't do it earlier. So then the question is, it's either the 13th, which is a Monday, or that Friday, which is a commission meeting. And originally we wanted to maximize the staff time to process invoices, but if it can't be done, it can't be done. We'll just have to work, I think, extra hard. It's not ideal on the staff side to cut because it's already so expedited. But if we can't make quorum, we can't make quorum. We'll have to do the commission meeting then.
I think we should try for the 13th. I did put on my notice to the court. I'm not available on the 13th, but this is the craziest UD and these people want a jury trial. So
no, of course. Yeah.
Could we have is it possible for us to have a backup time on June 13th?
Well, we have to notice. We have to notice 10 days.
Oh, right. And is there any exception? I'm really, you know, trying to think outside the box. Is there any exception that would, if Christina were not available, that she would be able to approve or vote, even though she couldn't attend the actual meeting?
I think we had this question come up before, and Brady, if I recall correctly, has said like voting by proxy or something like that, that wasn't available as an option.
What about unanimous written consent, like corporations have?
Can we find out if there is some alternative? I was wondering about that same thing.
No, unfortunately, with these these meetings being conducted by teleconference, essentially, are the rules that govern these meetings. We actually have to take a roll call for every vote. And so, there's sort of never been the ability to do proxy voting for what, even before we resorted to these Zoom meetings. So unfortunately, our hands are really tied by the requirements of the Bagley-Keene Open Meetings Act, and we just don't have the ability to take votes other than by roll call vote when we're meeting in this Zoom fashion.
Okay,
well,
thanks, Donna.
Kim, I just thought of a way that Christina might be able to participate. The meetings have a start time. Do they have an end time to them?
I think we allotted 1 hour.
Well, originally we thought we allotted 3 hours, but Kim thought that we could do it in an hour.
I think we can do it in an hour. I mean, Christina and I were part of the process.
Well, I had another idea, Kim. My thought was that we keep it open for as long as necessary to give Christina an opportunity to later, even though some of us would join initially, but Christina could join when she has a window on the 13th. And by lengthening the time of the meeting, perhaps we would accommodate her ability to vote.
But then we have to all stay on. We have to have a notice. The time has to be noticed with the start and end time. I mean, they're approximate, like sometimes we can go over a little bit, but I don't think that would be in line with the spirit of Bagley-Keene, because part of it is so that the public can participate.
Right.
We leave it all day open. It doesn't
right.
in the spirit of that, if someone actually wanted to come and listen in. And
okay, so worst case scenario, can we schedule a second meeting for the 17th before the full commission meeting, and then if necessary we would cancel it?
Well, would you just want to go straight to the commission though, instead of having another extra? That 17th meeting there's also an eligibility and budget review committee meeting. It's pretty much all day for me, but I don't know if that would help. I think if you're going to wait till the 17th, you might as well just take it to the full commission at that point.
And we have enough time in our agenda for the 17th commission meeting to deal with that?
We should. I mean, provided that this agenda item lasts, I don't know, at the commission level around half an hour, if not more. It's always a packed agenda, but yeah, we can find time. We can make time for it. It's a priority.
So it sounds to me like we're sticking with the 13th at a 9:30 meeting and hoping it works.
Is it 9:30 or 9 a.m.?
Well, originally it's 9, but Rich said now he can't make it.
Oh, that's right.
9:30. So I haven't modified the because we just saw that email on Friday, and it's been the holiday week. So I just thought, since we're all together, to just check in right now. So if that's comfortable for you, then I'll ask Kim to send out updated for 9:30 to 10:30 on the 13th, and then on the commission side, then I'll have a backup agenda item. Because of the agenda item now for the commission meeting is just update on CalFHA grant. So maybe we'll modify it to update and approve, and then we'll drop off the approve if we update it. I mean, if we are able to have
that works. That's fine.
Okay.
Next item, Duan.
Okay, next item is an update on the Legal Services Trust Fund Commission application process. So we all just want to update you that there was a nominations committee that was comprised of Chris, Kim, Eric Iskin, and Pamela Bennett. They've decided to actually disband that committee and go towards modeling after the Board of Trustees, which is appointments liaisons. And so the appointments liaisons would be Chris and Kim, and they would take their recommendation directly to the commission. So we just wanted to update XCOM on that kind of procedural change. And then Kim and Chris, I don't know if you wanted to provide any more updates on the review process or where we're at.
Well, Chris is not here, but
Chris is here.
I'm here. I joined.
Oh.
Okay.
Hi, Chris.
Hi. Kim's
nice
literally next door, but I had another standing meeting, and so anyway, I just joined late.
It's really an avatar.
Yeah. I would just say that we have had a remarkably good set of applicants, and we've interviewed 6 or 7, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they've all been excellent for different reasons. We only have 3 spots open, which is very challenging. So yeah, I have Dwan and Kim have both participated with me, or I participated with them. And I would just say we haven't talked about the applicants really. So I don't have any specifics to report other than to say that I'm very heartened by the fact that the pool of people who will be coming on to the commission is excellent.
Yeah, I just want to echo that. I mean, we've never had over 20 applications, at least since I've been here, the last 7 years. So it's a very high volume, but the quality of the applications is just remarkable. The 6 that we interviewed have kind of very different backgrounds, but all excellent in their own right. Like they would all be, I think, contributors to the commission to bring something valuable.
Yeah, and I agree with all of that. And I would just add that I think that everyone's effort on recruitment, thank you. It really has paid off in giving us just a wide range of individuals who are interested in serving on the commission.
I have to say, really, having the executive committee be so involved this year, because I was looking at the list and it does seem like a lot of them were some people found us on the State Bar website, but for the most part, it was through somebody reaching out to them personally, and everybody kind of did their part with the 1 or 2, and that's how we're able to add up to, more than 20. So it's really great that personal recruitment makes a difference. Okay, so that's it for that, the update for that agenda item, Rich and Kim. And so the last one is just, I'm going to take you through the draft agenda for the upcoming commission meeting. So let me share my screen. Make this larger. Okay, can you all see this?
If we move closer, yes.
Okay, sorry, let me make it bigger.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, good.
Okay, great. So that's 1, 2, 3 is just administrative, and then agenda item 4, update on grants administration. Elizabeth and I are going to both do a report from our office, and in this report, hopefully by that time we'll have a sense of the state budget, and then we can report on kind of increases to EF or other kind of funding streams. We're also going to share, and I'm going to email this out actually today or tomorrow. But we got the results of our 2021 annual legal services trust fund audit, and it was a clean audit. We didn't have any findings, so that was really great. And Michael, who you all have met in our office, really led the efforts with answering all the questions from the auditor. But it was a very, very smooth process this year. Erica's going to do an update from the Eligibility and Budget Review Committee. There were only two new grantees this year, and then she'll provide more of a high level if there are any eligibility issues. And then Chris, and this, the reason why this is highlighted is we don't know if this agenda item is going to happen. We're hoping to preview for you. We submitted, the staff submitted a report to the Judicial Council of homelessness prevention funding from the 2019-2020, that first tranche of funding. And so we would like to preview it for you, but we're seeking approval from the Judicial Council right now to do a short presentation. And then the big agenda item for this June meeting, as it is every June, is the 2023 approval of the 2023 distribution that will then go to the Board of Trustees in July. And I just want to give you all a heads up too that we are the Federal Reserve has increased interest rates, and we're also expecting them to increase it a few more times this year. So IOLTA revenue is trending up pretty significantly, and so we'll have it's pretty good news. It seems like, I mean, depending on where you all kind of how much of the reserve you want to dip into, and if you want to do, say, a conservative, moderate, or aggressive kind of projection, it's still looking in the realm of a significant increase from the 2022 distribution, so which is great. Then Erica's going to do a update on the LRAP proposal, and hopefully, again, like we mentioned, we'll have a sense from a more definitive sense if it's going to be funded in this budget cycle. Then for the executive committee, Rich and Kim had asked Brady to put together a conflicts of interest kind of training and policy. So he's going to run us through that. Oh, Chris, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, just going back on the IOLTA funding.
Yes.
So I guess we're not previewing today what those potential recommendations are.
We're not previewing today because the staff is still working on refining it. I mean, we've been working on it for the last, I would say, 6 weeks now. So I have a sense, I mean, you know, the number is going to be close to what like I've seen, but we haven't landed on it completely. So that's why I didn't want to share it with you all yet. But it's looking like, again, depending on a lot of factors, right? Because you have a couple decision-making points, whether you want to project conservative, moderate, or aggressive for revenue for the remainder of this year, and then also for next year, and then how much of the reserve you want to kind of draw out. But say you know, in line with previous years where you go with a moderate projection, and you also go with kind of middle of the line, we're still looking at a distribution of upwards of $50 million or more, and this year's distribution was $35 million. So it's still going to be significantly more, but it could be even more depending on what you want to distribute, or a lot less depending on how much you want to hold back in reserves.
Got it. So that would just be a decision we'd sort of make on the fly on that date.
Yeah, and what I can do is, if you know, the staff has drafted a memo. I could send you the memo before I go to post it, if that would make you feel more comfortable.
I think it's important when we do this to make certain that the commissioners, especially new ones, understand the purpose of the reserve. And if the memo includes that, it would be helpful.
Yeah, the memo is pretty detailed. It has a lot of background on the reserve policy, what we've done historically. And then concurrently, what's happening on the Rules Committee, there is a working group that's looking at kind of revising that reserve policy. And on that working group is Catherine Blakemore, Tammy Mahoney, and Selena. And I'm lead staff on that working group along with Erica. So some of their recommendations are kind of infused in kind of this year's recommendation for the distribution as well. For the 2023 distribution. And I think, Brady, did you have your hand up? And then Selena.
Yeah, I was just gonna, and this, if it's better offline, but we're gonna try and move mine up, right?
Yeah, we're gonna take it out of order. It's just that makes sense to lay it out like this.
Because I thought, I mean, it's not technically executive committee. I mean, it was raised by, I think we should put it somewhere else than that.
Oh, you think you should? Okay.
Like either under business, or if we could change.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll move it up then to the business. And Selena, do you have a comment?
Yeah, just on the IOLTA reserves versus cash on hand. In the working group meeting, I found it incredibly helpful to kind of differentiate those two issues. What's necessary for cash on hand versus what's necessary for reserves, for kind of like flattening the curve of IOLTA. And I think that the working group is taking this issue very seriously. And even if we have a final recommendation by the June meeting, I think it will shape next year's the 2023 decision for 2024 funding in a really important way.
Thank you. Any other comments? Sorry, because I'm sharing my screen. I can't see. Kim or Shani, are there any other hands up?
No, I'm good. I think if it's possible to see the memo on the 2023 IOLTA distribution in advance, that would be helpful.
Okay.
If it's not too tough for staff to get that out.
I mean, we are like 95% finished. We're just refining the numbers, and then it's going to go through our approval process, and then after that I can share it with you. I have it scheduled so it's done, more than the 5 days before our commission meeting. So I'll send it to you all a few days before then.
Thank you.
Okay. And then again, this is the agenda item 6B here for the CalFHA, but what I'll do is I'll modify to say update and approval of 2022 CalFHA foreclosure grants, and then if you all approve it, then we'll drop off the approval and it'll just be an update.
Okay.
And then we'll do the same update about reviewing the Trust Fund Commission application. Then it's our liaison reports, and then I kept here Kim and Rich the 2 presentations from grantees, and I do have one that I've secured, and then I'm going to try to find another one for you.
Okay.
Okay. So this
That's
is
great.
I mean, it's a pretty packed agenda item. I don't know if there's anything else you want me to add or modify from there. Great. Okay, I'll turn it back over to you, Kim and Rich.
Any other items that were not listed on our agenda that people would like to address? If not, I'd make a motion that we adjourn. Second?
I'll second.
Wow. Fast.
Pretty efficient.
Very efficient. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Thanks all. Sorry I was late.
Oh, no problem. See you.